We're going to do a study on the effects of mentoring in mathematics using personalized learning technology to facilitate mentor-mentee interactions. Right now, 1 in 4 American adults lack the mathematical and computational skills that are considered fundamental for functioning in everyday work and social life, which disqualifies them from many high-paying jobs and makes everyday tasks much more difficult. The achievement trend in math education in the United States has been relatively flat for more than 10 years, and nationwide economic prosperity and personal income have been linked to math proficiency. To address this, in the state of Utah, the legislature has allocated funds to the STEM Action Center to support effective supplemental software programs for personalized learning in grades K to 12. Students who used one of the programs supported by the STEM Action Center for at least 30 minutes a week on average during the 2017-18 school year were more than 50% more likely to reach grade level proficiency than students who did not have access to the software. And while these results are exciting, and Utah is currently in the top 15 states for math achievement, only 37% of Utah's 8th grade students meet grade level proficiency, and the doors of opportunity are being closed on many of our students. A recent analysis of 78 different interventions in mathematics found that the most effective interventions were individuals working one-on-one or one-to-small group with students, even if those individuals were not trained teachers or paraprofessionals. We hypothesize that getting mentors into classrooms with proven math technology will have compounded positive effects. The research questions are here on the screen, and you can pause and read those if you'd like. But essentially, we want to know if math mentoring with technology makes a difference. Group comparison research examines the difference in means on one or more dependent variables for 2 similar groups who differ significantly on the independent variable. It is useful for examining possible cause and effect relationships when researchers are unable to directly manipulate the independent variable. In school settings, it's often very difficult and sometimes illegal to randomly provide students with a potentially helpful intervention while denying it to other students who have the same characteristics. This makes group comparison research one of the best tools available for understanding whether interventions are having the intended outcomes in education. To ensure that we understand how math mentoring impacts students in various parts of Utah, researchers will be working with several rural school districts and several urban school districts. Within those districts, schools who have consistently had the worst math scores over the past 3 years, where students are using STEM AC approved math software and teachers are willing to have mentors come into their classrooms, will be selected. At the beginning of the year, all students using math software will receive a diagnostic test to determine appropriate grade level placement within the software. Researchers will identify naturally occurring clusters of students, which is called cluster sampling, based on student scores. Students at least 3 grade levels behind who are in 4th through 8th grade and have not been identified for an individualized education plan at participating schools will be selected to receive math mentoring. This group will be compared to demographically similar students from the same grade level who are using math software at schools where mentoring is not offered. To understand how students feel about math, we will use a validated math survey instrument based on the expectancy value theory. And to measure student achievement, we will use a previously validated math diagnostic test that is highly correlated with the state level end of year math assessment in Utah. Students will be grouped based on demographic information and prior test and survey results. Once students are grouped, multiple t-tests will be used to examine the relationship between student performance, comparing students who receive math mentoring and students who do not at various grade levels. To help ensure that we're comparing similar students, students who received mentoring will be matched to students at similar schools who had similar performance on the diagnostic test. An analysis of covariance is better suited to understanding the relationship between mentoring and student perceptions, since there are many questions within the survey that cannot easily be aggregated into one mean score. For the analysis of covariance, students will be matched based on responses to the pre-survey given at the beginning of the year. It should be noted that the world is presently in the middle of a global pandemic. School right now is nothing like school has ever been in the past, and neither is anything else in the world. Nearly everyone in the world, students included, is starved for social interaction, and that may be a significant confounding variable. Since there is not much that can be done to deal with the effects of a global pandemic within the parameters of this study, any findings should be examined in the light of the current world situation. It is possible that mentoring is more important now than it has ever been in the past, and that 5 or 10 years from now, a replication study may yield vastly different results. This is the implementation timeline. I won't spend a ton of time here since you can pause it and read it, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And this is the timeline for research, which picks up where the implementation timeline leaves off. Ultimately, I want to have the final write-up of the study completely done by September of 2022, which seems like a realistic timeline for this. Implications of this study. Ideally, if this is effective, we're going to have more adults connecting with students in Utah classrooms. Those students are going to get better outcomes in math, which is going to lead to better opportunities for those students, and in the big picture, a better economy for the state of Utah. If you have any questions, please contact me directly. I would love to talk about any of this with anyone who's interested.